All right, we're rolling now. Hi, Carmen Bristol, Sharita, Tasha Ross. What's going on? What's happening? How we doing today? Terry Ann, Crystal Adgers, Apostle, I love you. I got to see that one. Leona, and I love you. Hey, Joycey, Jeanette Jenkins, Shalina or Shelina. I don't want to mess it up. I'm sorry. Crystal, there go my Newman baby. Christine Dawson, come on. I've been praying for you, praying you through. This season is not a cliche. It is your season. Your book came today. Will, I'm so proud of you. Lulu, good evening. Good to see everyone on tonight. Let's see if I can change this out. Get rid of that. That's right. Say hello. Halfway through chapter 1. Good. They're big chapters. They're big chapters. Welcome on Periscope. Oh, y'all partying tonight. Y'all jumped up to 19 in like 2 seconds. On Facebook, y'all doing your thing. What can I say? Oh, isn't that nice, Priscilla? Eddie Kendo, I see him on here. I see Biggs. Good evening. I see Selena's. Did I say it right? Glory 888. Special. Integrity Force. My sister from another. Lady Latanya. Joy Nolan. Eagle Vision. Y'all coming in. Come on. You know, I was thinking today when I was looking over the broadcast, I said, I got to clean off that bookshelf. But can I be honest with you? I just cleaned off this bookshelf, I think 2 months ago. So that's still bad. And I believe the majority of them I've read. And then I realized I had 2 and 3 copies because I ended up meeting the author. So I ended up buying another one that had a signed version. You know, just some memorabilia on my walk in this life. Absolutely. Fix this a little bit. All right. I'll be on Periscope and YouTube if it shows clearer for me. But it won't let you moderate anymore. All right, I'm going to set you up because I think Joy was trying to handle some folks last night. And it got a little rough on it because, you know, intercessors, they want to bang out. So she was like, no, she don't. I was like, oh, boy. It's all right, Nolan. It's all right. Yeah, I may have to figure out that. I may have to figure out setting up the moderator before it starts. So thank you for telling me ahead of time. I will take care of that. Miss Percy, can you come for a moment, please? I don't know if Joel was on last night, but I think he missed maybe that he was the winner. But Joel, if you listen to the replay, we'll get you back on. It's Tuesday, you know, I'm at my office all day. You can pop in and I'll have the book there at the counter for you. We're going to have Miss Percy. We're going to have her. You can say hi on this one too. We're going to have her draw for tonight. Come on. Oh, it says your mom is on. I think so.
What?
Come on. Come on. Who's going to get self-matters tonight? Who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? Oh, you threw that one down. We should have seen who that one was. I always be curious. Drum roll. Come on. Ah, Celine Cologne. Celine Cologne. I think you're a Periscope viewer. Are you not? I think I called your name out. Did I say Selena's? Come on, tell me if you're there. But I think I called your name out. Hi, Kathy. Priscilla, Nisi. Celine Cologne, you won. So you have an option. You have an option of the book or the companion. You choose what you want. They're saying hello to you. All right, go get your snack. Get ready for night-night. Love you. Thank you for your services. Beautiful. You just text me, email me and tell me which one you want. She said, my best friend. Anna, that's your best friend. There she go. Celine S. Cologne. All right, Celine. Let me give you the email address and the email address to everyone out here. Info, I-N-F-O, like information, info at SuzanneMHoward.com. Suzanne is S-U-Z-A-N-N-E. Like Whitney Houston, my name is not Susan. Suzanne. They knew what they were doing when they named me Suzanne. S-U-Z-A-N-N-E, middle initial M, Howard. Think of shaking my head. They tease me about my initials. Shaking my head. S-M-H. SuzanneMHoward.com. Info at SuzanneMHoward.com. You can inbox me your address and I will mail this out to you by Tuesday. Or you can come by our office and pick it up any Tuesday or Wednesday or Saturday or Sunday. Or you can inbox your address and I'll mail it right out to you. So that's your choice. Congratulations to you. And let's see, that's only 2 going. Oh, you have to tell me if you want the book, the reading book, or the companion. The Mighty Little Prophet is getting so big, and she is. I can comment now. Awesome. All righty. I don't think I got a lick of homework from anybody on here, so maybe y'all think your homework was done already, but that's all right. I'm going to give you grace, but I can't give you too much grace because then I'll really be wasting my time even being on here tonight, because the reason why I'm on here, because I'm interested in you. I've been called to you, and I have an investment in you. Amen? All right. Let me see. I don't have any testimonies to read. Like I said, no one's inboxed me. I had the giveaway, and I think we're just going to go ahead and jump in. I'm excited because if we get through the lesson tonight in its entirety, by tomorrow night, we will be taking the authenticity test. Authenticity test. I explained on last night that the authenticity test is the blueprint. And we're building, we're deconstructing and then constructing you, your best life, me, my best life. So we have to tear down and build back up. So we're deconstructing what is there to construct what should have been there in the first place. So in order to do that, we're going to do the authenticity test. I call it an assessment. He in his book, it's his book, he's calling it a test. But to me, it's not really a test, because a test will always need to determine who's right or who's wrong, or how many you got right and how many you got wrong. And it's not a right or wrong thing. It's an assessment. It is assessing who you are now. And that's what we're building on. Because remember, we're tearing down all that old. We're assessing what is your belief now. And then we're building on a foundation of authenticity. So I'm excited. I see you all saying hi to each other. That blesses me greatly. I'm glad you're on tonight. So we'll just go ahead, jump in, and get started. I just want to take care of one small thing here. Miss Percy, can you close the door, please? All right. Thank God for trusty assistants that work for food. Because if I ever get to a place where I can afford them, oh my God, I owe them. Hello, Deborah and Adoria and Jose. Welcome, everyone who's on Periscope. I'm going to hide your comments for a minute, and I'm going to just try to get here in the lesson. We're starting out tonight again from the book, and we're starting out on the middle half of page 37. I thought that it had a couple of dashes over it, but maybe that's just in the hard copy. But no, that's the right one, 37. All right. What I would like you all to do while we're getting started, I would like, yeah, my assistants work for food, all of them. The one that's 7 years old up into the one who's about 50 years old. They just want a good old meal. Sometimes they like it home cooked. Sometimes we go to restaurants. But either way, they work for food. What is the name of the book again? Hey, Dwayne, what up, Prophet? We're doing a book called Self Matters. Self Matters. It has the reading and it has the companion book. And the reason why we're doing this book is because I'm dealing with the issues of the soul. The soul, I know you already know, but I'm going to go ahead and do my usual spiel and get it out. Your soul is the seat of who you are. It is the place where your will, your attractions, your desires, your personality comes from. It is the place with your, did I say appetite? Even your appetite. Do you know, according to what we crave and what we eat actually comes from our soul? So if our soul isn't right, we aren't right. Our appetite isn't right. You will see there's an app out now. I think it's called Gnome or something like that. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Some of the millennials would definitely know it. And they deal with weight loss, but they deal with weight loss in a psychological way, because we are finally waking up to learn that before the Holy Ghost was breathed into us, God breathed his breath into us that made us a living soul. We had a soul before the Holy Spirit was ever set to be indwelling inside of us. The Holy Spirit is always in the earth, so don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But before we had the great opportunity to have the Holy Spirit living on the inside of us, where we all are no respecter of person, we all are living souls. And our souls are perfect. They're blameless. They're faultless. Our economy is in our soul. Everything we need to live, to maintain, for rulership, dominionship, entrepreneurship, leadership, mothership, fathership, everything is in our soul, pre-packaged. The issue is, biblically speaking, when the fall came, things got out of order, and most things, if not 99.9% of them, are in reverse. What's happened after that are the people who were responsible for raising us, or lack thereof. And all the traumas and experiences that we've had in life has recalibrated our souls, where up until last night we've been learning that our own vision, our own image, our own self-concept of ourselves is marred. It's jacked up. I mean, you'd be surprised if you really get people who can confess what they think of themselves. You would really be surprised. It's not usually how they show up. It's not usually how they look. It's not usually how they put into their hair and their makeup and their dress. You can tell sometimes by their weight, sometimes, because we don't have time to go into that tonight. You can tell by their level of education. And it doesn't mean that because you aren't educated, you've got problems. That's not what I'm saying. There is a thing called self-education, where you can pick up a book. You can sit in the library. You can, we've got great leaders like Malcolm X and many others who are out there who are self-educated. When they came into an awakening state, they realized that information was in the book, and they had no problem picking up a book and being self-educated. And you would think that some of these guys had PhDs 2 and 3 times over because they were self-taught. So what I'm telling you is there's really no excuse for it. But you can tell when there is an issue there, because poverty isn't a money issue. It's an ignorance issue. And the more you are enlightened by information, revelation, the desire to become better and do more will always cause you to come up out of a poverty place. And I'm not talking about riches poverty. I'm talking about poverty in your soul, poverty in your mind, which reflects in your lifestyle, your choices. We talked a little bit again, recapping last night. Because you don't know who you are, and you've been operating in sort of this chameleon, you've been operating in sort of this this person who is living out the best they can through their molestation. A lot of people that I counsel have gone through molestation. And the worst part of it, well, there's 2 horrible parts for those who've been victimized by a molester. One of them is that they haven't been able to tell anybody, especially if it happened in the family, because they don't want to have a family uproar. They leave this little child who thinks universally. What does that mean? Universal thinking for a child means everything revolves around them. So they're taught to believe if I'm a little boy and a man molested me, I must be gay, because what else would have attracted him to me? Out of all the cousins in them, why did he come at me? Or the same thing for a girl. And if the female was a molester, that happens. Don't think it's just a male thing. It's coming out more and more that it's more male on male. And there's a lot of females that have been molested. But the problem with that whole concept is why I don't like to go around with the torches and throwing rocks, because many of the predators were once, predicated against. They were once attacked by a predator. So the thing that scared them is the thing they become, and it becomes a defense mechanism. If I become a predator, if I become a tiger, the tigers can't attack me anymore. So, there's a deep psyche to all of the people that we've become and who we think we are and who we think we're not, and the fears and the phobias and the weakness and the insecurities and, There's some couples that people say, oh my God, they're such a great marriage. I want to be like them. They're walking in such union. And then you find out that marriage is so codependent. It is scary. It is so codependent, not a healthy codependency that God puts in marriage that is part of the ordination of marriage. I'm talking about a codependency where you have lost yourself completely. See, God has never required any of us to lose ourselves even in him. Basically, what he tells us is Jesus said, when you find the Father, you'll find me. When you find me, you'll find the Father. They became one. It's a holiness that they became. I'm not going to preach to y'all tonight. I missed church today, so I probably got a little word up in me that's trying to come out my pores. But I want you to understand, because I read a book the other night that Oprah and Maya Angelou did the foreword in. So I'm interested in reading this book, not so much because I've learned about Oprah's beliefs and whatnot, but I was reading the first chapter and I couldn't believe that they were basically referring to the soul as God. And everything, the soul was there beforehand. They had all the right wording. They had all the right synonyms to what we know is factual in our book of Genesis and our book of creation. See, we don't have to wonder what came first, the chicken or the egg. The Bible tells us which come first. Everything was seed bearing. Everything that he produced by seed, because everything had a seed in it. I mean, we don't have to question. We don't have to take science for 30 years to figure out what came first, the chicken or the egg. We know because we have the word of God. But again, I'm going to stay out of that place again. My point in referencing all of that is there was a beginning for you, and that beginning pattern became interrupted somewhere in your life. You know, maybe you weren't molested. Maybe you weren't abandoned. Maybe you weren't rejected. Maybe you weren't dropped by your parents. Maybe you were not raised by other people. But I don't care how functioning you believe your childhood was, there is some dysfunction in there. And if you don't believe it, call me up. Go on the website. Book yourself a free 30-minute consultation. Talk to me for 25 minutes, 29 if you need to. You can talk to me for 2 minutes, and I can begin to unravel for you the dysfunction that you were raised up in. You were not raised up according to the original plan and purpose that was for your life. First, God forbid that the people who raised you didn't know the original plan and purpose for your life. So there's a lot of work we've been doing, a lot of archaeological digging we have been doing to find the greatness of the legacy of everything that was left for you, the life you should be living, the best life that you should be living now, the patrimony that has been left for you. You know, it's just so much richness in you that if we can get you to just get a craving to be awakened in these 30 days, I believe I've done my job. But what I need after that, in order to stick a feather in my cap, is I need you to continue this work on for the remainder of this year, because we're doing a condensed version. If you were a client of mine, we would probably do bi-weekly or monthly sessions, and we would work this out slowly, giving room for breaths, for lies to become truths, for exhales, for you to be able to leave your conscious and go into your subconscious and dig a little deeper. Do you know that sometimes just from talking to others, things will come out that you thought was dead and gone? No, baby, they was just dormant. So what I'm doing is I'm ruffling up the feathers. I'm stirring up the bad cream and I'm bringing it to the top to bring you into a revelation that there are some things about yourself that you don't know that need to be discovered, because they're hindering your prosperity. They're could be hindering your relationships, your promotions, your entrepreneurship, your book writing. They could be hindering your marriage or a lack thereof. And if you're single, I suggest so wholeheartedly to you, start doing the work now before he or she comes. Don't wait to come into realization that I'm jacked up and I got to fake it so this person doesn't know they married somebody who's broken, only to find out that that person is trying to hide from you their brokenness. Marriage is hard enough than have to deal with two broken people. You know, I heard people say, we don't bring 50-50 to the table. We bring 100 to the table. I haven't met a marriage yet that brought 100 to the table. We come at 1% and 2%. Because there's a lot of things that are not dealt with, not unraveled. You know, if you were a child and you were told to keep your mouth shut, you kept your mouth shut. And you could be 50 and 60 years old and your mouth is still shut. And then you lash out at certain times and nobody knows what's wrong with you. These are all things in the soul. I like to refer to the soul as the cloud. We hear so much of the cloud now with Microsoft and Apple and Android. And the cloud is the place that never forgets. Go look at YouTube. Go look at my YouTube page at the initial promo video. And it shows you this, just picture it as a soul, but it has to be in a body because we're in earth. But just imagine your soul that's afraid of heights, that goes on these adventures in life. And all the things that's happened or have not happened, and how you were clay in the potter's hand, and then the clay became marred. And then at the end, it just zooms right into the eye to remind you that all these adventures and all these fears and all these constructions and destructions that you have gone through, your soul has never forgotten any of them. Any of them. It's there. It's the deleted box on your phone. You know how you delete it and you find out the pictures you deleted is only in a deleted box. They're still there somewhere. And then you thought you deleted that. And then you find out there's a cloud and all the stuff are sitting on the cloud. Yeah, man, that exists. That's your soul. It doesn't. And hypnosis. Please don't go to a hypnosis. I've got to come against the witches ministry. Hypnosis is just opening you up to other, let me speak the language of the world, to honor other universal portals that you can't afford to be opened up. Because we cannot assume that we can go into these places of the subconscious and walk through there like nothing's going to affect us. I've counseled people who kind of told me off because we've had to go back to some places and open some doors only for them to be rejected again by daddy, rejected again by mama, rejected again by their sisters, rejected again by cousins in them that they had sex with, but they couldn't get over it. So they was thinking about committing suicide. So we had to go back and touch some things. And they were mad at me because they rejected me again. And I said, I didn't send you back to be accepted or rejected. I sent you back to get your peace. I sent you back to confront that demon because you are as sick as your secret. So you may have said, I was touched when I was little, and that's why I started touching when I was little. And I get all that. Are y'all getting interference tonight on Periscope or Facebook, whatever one I'm on with Mevo? Yeah, on Periscope. Are y'all getting interference? Because I didn't put my little trusty earphones on. And those things are very real. It does happen that way. However, some of the healing that needs to take place doesn't just happen for some of us by confession in our prayer time or confession to a counselor. Sometimes I've had to call families in only to find out that they all were molested. And I'm thinking I'm bringing one in. A part of me through studies knows that usually, most people who have opened up their lust tank, whether it be murder or sex or drugs or, pedophilia, usually they're serial because lust is never satisfied. And all of these things that we're dealing with are lust. So if you've opened up a taste for lust, there's now a hunger for lust. So I brought this family in of all women, mothers and daughters. Thank you, Ebony Edwards. I brought them in and only to find out that all of them were molested, 3 of them by the same person. The predator was able to go through 3 of this woman's 4 daughters without anyone talking about it because mom was molested by a grandfather and would never admit it to her kids. It's generational. You better believe it. And in our families, I can't stand that what goes on in the house stays in the house. Well, if it's going to stay in this house, then we need to bring somebody in our house. Because we've got to find out if something is going on in this family. There could be pedophilia in this family. There could be anything. I'm just working that tonight. So you grow up and let's just say you become successful and you have a husband or wife and, you're raising children. Everything's just going along and then boom, that thing in the soul, that whispers, that self-talk, that the psychological term for it, all of a sudden it relentlessly starts digging. It doesn't go away. It just simply waits for an opportune moment to come up and remind you, hey, I ain't forget we got molested and you ain't talk about it yet. So you're as sick as your secret. You're still a victim even though you believe that you're not. It's still there. That's why alcoholics, according to the worldly 12 steps, they have to constantly confess that they are. Because you are as sick as your secret. So they believe that the more that we confess it, the more that we admit it, the more we stay awakened and aware and attentive and sensitive to the different triggers that can cause us to go down. So that's the soul in a nutshell. And it's powerful. And I sometimes think that Apple and some of these companies really are just revealing to us prophetically what God has already done for us in humanity and in the earth and in the celestial. They're working it out in their little software gadgets. It's amazing. Our God is amazing. I don't know how people could assume he doesn't exist and say he doesn't exist and try to have evidence for him not existing. In my opinion, everything brings you right back to him. He's powerful. All right, let's go. Let's see. How are we? This subject is a confirmation for me, and my doctor just set up an appointment for me for hypnosis for weight loss. Uh-oh. All right, dear. We'll talk about that one later. Yes, nothing new under the sun. You know that's right. You're as sick as your secret. And I don't know. I'm a little forward with people. My counseling is a little more direct. My teaching is very direct. Not everyone can receive me. Some people will get turned off from the message because of the messenger. Because I don't know. I believe that my authentic person, y'all get what I'm saying tonight, God has placed me in this earth to just be straight up and to be real. And so I don't do too well with the diplomatic stuff. I don't do too well with the religious stuff. I just don't rock well in those areas. And I don't do, my bluntness isn't to hurt anyone, to embarrass anyone, or to hinder anyone. It's really to free you. It really is. And if you can't handle this kind of openness and bluntness, I recommend you watch the broadcast and stay on the broadcast, because you'll be all right. Because I heard people who have tried to dog me out, and the people they have tried to dog me out to would say, but that's what I need. I need that in your face type of stuff, where these other people were still wounded from their rejection, that my bluntness became another form of rejection to them, and they couldn't handle the ministry. Thank God we have many churches that people can go to. But you'll do better on the broadcast than with me in person, because the only way to get you delivered and to keep you healed is to get in your face with the truth of what you won't admit, of what it is that you don't want to say. Yep, they're doing it big time now. Hypnosis for weight loss. Y'all better stop messing with that stuff. I'm telling you. Why can't we just eat right? Why can't we just take a 30-minute walk and get some exercise at our lunch hour? Or after dinner, the family go out, take a 30-minute walk. I mean, why can't we just do that? Why we got to get our guts taken out, half of our stomachs sold out? You know why we do this, right? See, y'all going to mess me up for my lesson tonight. And I only got 30 minutes left. And we got to hit 10 pages tonight, because tomorrow night I want us to hit the assessment. But you know what the problem is? It's a sick soul. Because you don't believe that you can eat right and exercise and live healthy the way you were programmed to live, because of what's in your soul. And whatever is heaviness, it's burdensome, it's weariness, it's weighing you down. So we doing all these crazy weight loss things. Come on, y'all. Come on. People trying to go through all kind of things to get rid of wrinkles. Let me tell you something. I earned mine. I never thought I would live this life this long. So many of my friends and my peers died of AIDS, in jail, drug overdoses, death, motor vehicular accidents. I'm grateful to be alive. When I see a wrinkle, you know what I say? It's better than the alternative, and that's the grave. I'm growing old. I'm not dead. I've learned to embrace it, and it took me time, because, I had vanity and insecurity and all that. And it took me time. I started worrying, and after a while, I was like, man, the people in the grave ain't wrinkling no more. I give glory that I'm alive today, and then I don't stop there. I give glory that I'm changed today, that I'm interested in improvement and personal development, and I'm willing to take some others with me along the journey to personal development, healing, salvation, sanctification. Let's do this thing. People with authority issues cannot take bluntness. Boom. I don't eat right. I have a sick soul. Jesus help me. You ain't the only one, baby. You're not the only one. I used to talk about people. I don't understand how they can smoke cigarettes. All the things we've seen on TV, the most grossest commercials with things in their throat and commercials that make you want to throw up. I don't understand how people could still smoke today. And all of a sudden, I found myself with a chocolate bar. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't smoking it, but I sure was eating that chocolate bar up. But I'm putting down a cigarette smoker. I mean, come on, y'all. Get to the soul. Find out why you believe you cannot exercise every day. Find out why you believe you need sugar to get you excited and get your crank turning up. It's in the soul. Somebody told you is what we're going to hear tonight, or something convinced you. External or internal experiences has taught you what you believe about yourself today. It has taught you your self-concept. What you bought into about yourself has hindered the things that you really want to do. Y'all put up and down the screen last night heavily. If you had a second chance at life, if money wasn't an option, the family you were raised in could have been any family you would have chosen. Finances were there for you. No fears. What is it that you would have been? And it didn't take but a half a milliliter of a second, if that's such a thing, for people to begin to write down the screen what it is they wanted to do. You knew just like that. But have done nothing about it. So come on. We're in our book, Self Matters. We're learning about being authentic so that we can get to the real person of who we are. The litmus test, I did get some emails about those who took the litmus test and they said they failed it heavily. I understand. And we also have the Self Matters Companion. And this has a lot of the work that you need to do right here in it. Let me say this in case I forget towards the end, because I try to rush more towards the end. I'm going to make sure you subscribe to the website. Remember, SMH, www.suzannemhoward.com. Subscribe to the site, because probably tonight I'm going to begin emailing to all the subscribers who do not have the companion book. You need this. Or if you don't even have the reader's book, you need this assessment. I need you to take it. And maybe you can find someone online that you can take a picture of it from your phones or your gadgets and send it to each other to be accountable to one another to get it done. You can send it in here with me. I'll have my team look it over. They can email you back with a response, to either encourage you or to remind you what it means and so forth. But it's probably about 4 pages. I'm going to email the subscribers, and it will be on the blog page of the website, because I don't want you to miss this because you haven't won a book or because you can't afford to buy a book on Amazon or Audible. I don't want you to miss it. So I'm doing what we can on our end to post the most important soul work and soul assessments that I need you to take. Thank you very much for posting the website address. All right, let's go. On page 37, he begins to talk about, at some level, you are ready to do something different with your life. And I want to seize on your readiness. You know I'm right. What you may not know is how deadly serious I am about you getting real about you. How serious I am about you getting real about you. I don't care how young or how old you are. Seize the moment. What you may not know is how serious I am about you and how dramatically your life can change when you reclaim an incredible power that you may not have even known that you have lost. Remember last night? How many years you can lose from your life by living in a falsehood, living under heavy duress, living under heavy stress, living to please other people. At the end of the, it was all medically, scientifically proven, at the end of the mathematics, the psychological mathematics, was 32 years. And we talked about how it may not matter to you now, but it will matter on your deathbed if you could get those 32 years back. Come on, talk to me. Give me 100 if I got it. When you reclaim an incredible power that you may not even known that you have lost, you are better than you are living right now. You are capable of more than you have and are experiencing. You can even make your life hum if you will link up your true self and your world. To do that, you have to get intimately in touch with you. And when I say intimately, we've got to go there. We've got to go to the place where it hurts. Thank you for the hundreds. We've got to go to the place where it hurts. Please don't forget to share it on your page, inbox someone privately on Messenger or whatever. Let them know. I think you should get in on this. We've got about 25 days left. I think you can really get somewhere on this. That's right, Sharita. We are getting older. Get in so that you can fit in. Because we also learned on last night, a year from now, some of us are going to be in a different place, a better place. Some of us are going to be in a different place, but the same place. Which one are you going to be? You cannot just automatically trust that you have been or are currently being objective about you. Just because you have believed something for a long time or have convinced yourself that you are a certain way doesn't even almost make it true. You have to be willing to challenge virtually every single thing you have ever believed about yourself. For example, listen up. If you have for a long time felt that you were inferior or a second-class citizen, maybe even your family, that black sheep that comes up, where is the proof? Because they said it doesn't make it proof, doesn't make it factual. Because adults said it, some role models said it, doesn't make it factual. Where is the proof? If you had to argue your second-classness in a court of law, could you do it? Could you prove before your judge that the reason why you didn't do the things he intended for you to do was because you were the black sheep of the family? Could you prove it? Is that what he called you? Is that how he formed you? Did he package you less than he did anyone else? It is fact. Is it fact, or is it just some opinion that you have carried for a long time? Page 39. Remember, a lie unchallenged becomes the truth. Y'all need to post that one. Because remember, a lie unchallenged becomes the truth. A lie unchallenged becomes the truth. A lie unchallenged becomes the truth. That's right, Integrity Force. Come on. I want that one in your journal. Thank you, Sade. I want that one in your journal. Put that at the top of a page and begin to challenge all these untruths. Mama called you, daddy called you. Like I said, some experiences you've had, you've done most of the betrayal to you. You have caused most of the abandonment to yourself. Were only responsible up to 18 years of age. How many years have you been over the age of 18 now? Guarantee it. The most betrayal and abandonment has come from yourself. So remember that a lie unchallenged becomes the truth. You've ever been told or told yourself some of this crap, and you have told yourself it for so long, you just automatically believe it. And what's worse is you don't even realize that you believe it until it comes out of your mouth. Let me give you an example. I ain't going to name no names. Let me give you an example. Had a conversation with a couple people. One is in the church. The other one isn't in the church. Knew a little bit about it, but wasn't in the church. And we were eating and talking, and we began to make fun because they couldn't remember something. So I was amazed when I heard the person begin to say, Alzheimer's runs in our family, so I know it's coming. And my heart jumped like, woo, I've been around church folks too long. That's just not something we say. We could have Alzheimer's and still say, I don't have, by faith, I don't receive that. You know how we are. You got one eye missing. By faith, I believe I have an eye. We just don't play that kind of stuff. So I was shocked to hear this person say, oh, well, I know it's coming because it's in our family. The non-church person said, why would you claim that? And I began to look. I said, well, this table's about to get interesting here. Like, you don't claim stuff like that. There's things on my side of the family that they keep telling me I need to check my son for, and I don't bother with that nonsense because by faith, I believe I'm not going to claim that for my son. And, we don't want to fall to ignorance, to a fault of faith, but faith needs to be the foundation. So I was shocked to hear because it was repeated so much in the family that the family of this person bought into it and probably don't even realize they bought into it. Because remember last night we talked about what you believe you can actually receive, good, bad, or indifferent. You've got to get this stuff out of your soul. I am a new creature in Christ. Alcoholism is not in my generation because I'm a new creature in Christ. My new family is blood bought. The DNA is washed better than the blood that goes through dialysis. I do not have pedophilia, thieves, and bootleggers. There's no curses on my new blood. I don't have ADD. I don't have alcoholism. I don't have Alzheimer's in my family. We don't have multiple sclerosis in the blood bought family. But when people say something in the family, we used to say stuff. Oh, you act like Auntie Bertha. You just like her. When you get older, you're going to really look like her. And I started looking like Auntie Bertha. some of these things we have got to understand. We've got the power and we've got to shut it down where it is and not invite that into our life. All right, y'all got me out here preaching. Y'all with me though? So you don't believe this stuff and make it automatic in your life. That would never happen. Listen, if you required yourself to deal with only facts, for example, nobody could ever convince you that you're a thief because factually you know better. You know as a matter of indisputable objective fact that you do not steal. That wasn't one of my things, praise Jesus. Period. End of discussion. You wouldn't even get upset if they kept calling it you a thief because you know that's not your weakness. That ain't going to be true. So I'm not worried about it. You can simply and unequivocally reject that accusation because you have the data. Whatever someone else might think doesn't change it one whit. As a result, it's a piece of information that never gets a foothold in your self-conscious, in your self-concept, in your self-image. Being I'm a thief will never become a part of your personal truth. Why? Because you know without a shadow of a doubt, you're not a thief. You know. What some of the things we used to say, you know that you know that you know. And there's just some things, come on y'all, there's just some things in your life that you know that you know that you know that you're not. And you don't care what anybody say about you. And it's so strong in your life that when you do some wrong, the people who know you say, no, they might do something like that. Yeah, that sounds like Suzanne. But that right there, that ain't her, and that would never be her, and you can never convince me of that. There's just some things about some people, there's just some things about yourself that you know will never be. Period. End of story. Right? Flat-footed on it. But yet, somebody can call you a name. They can treat you differently. They can instill that you're just like your drunk uncle, or you're just like your loudmouth mother, or you're just like your cheating auntie, or you're like your no good father, or you're like your mother who never raised her kid. They can convince you of that stuff. But we have to have that same strong self-concept, that same belief, that same factual feeling and stance when somebody calls us a thief to when somebody calls us something that we know we're not. When they call you anything but a child of God, it needs to be unacceptable to you. Do not buy into it. It doesn't matter what they did to you when you were little. They were the predator. They were after you. It doesn't mean that you were what they made you feel. See, that's an external, that's an outside experience convincing you and causing an internal experience to convince you of something you're not. And if you're a child based on perception, and then you grow with that in you, shoe talk. Come on, let me keep going. This information will never become a part of who you are. But suppose someone confronts you about some aspect of yourself that is not so objective and not so easily measured, such as your value, your worth, your desirability, or your sensitivity. Those things are not nearly so cut and dry. I can't show you a quart of your worth or a pound of your value, whether it is you or someone else who's opinioning you. For example, you're worthless, you have known the facts, and you are dead meat. If you don't have the absolute bottom line scoop on the real deal, you'll go for the con. Remember we talked about it, I think maybe the first or the second night. If you are passionless and purposeless, you'll fall for anything. You'll buy anything. People can tell you anything about yourself. You're ignorant, you're dumb, anything. They can keep one foot on you. They can tell you that you'll never be like me. You good, but you'll never be like this. They can say anything they want to you, and you will buy into it because you're not flat-footed on who you are, but you may be, I know I'm a great typist. I know that I'm a great artist, and you know that, but on the inside, there's no typist or there's no artist self-concept about yourself when it comes to your self-image, your reputation. You let people convince you to anything. Yet, through some bizarre logic that will never cease to amaze me. Listen, let me back that up and go slow here. Yet, through some bizarre logic that will never cease to amaze me, I watch people get suckered time after time by some jerk, aka boyfriend or girlfriend, mother-in-law, boss, or their skinny friend, or their friend that has all the money, will, with some level of something that you don't have, they will break down your will to some level of some vague and unfounded criticism. And because you haven't done the work to omit the facts, we buy into it and stick it right dead center in our self-concept. You heard him? He said right dead center, which is our soul. Now the soul has to remember that by some jerk in your life, or some insecure, hating mother-in-law, or your skinny or rich friend, or by your boss who is jealous of your youth and how much pursuit you have in you, or the fact that you're older than them and you have so much motivation inside of you that they can bring down your self-worth with some baseless criticism about your life, where you will come home, they showed it on commercials, a wife will come home and say to her husband, am I skinny? Am I fat? Am I ugly? Is my hair this? Because there was no self-image there in the first place. She's automatically going to someone else, trying to find out who she is, because someone else who maybe has a gene to be skinny wants to pick on your lack of a gene to be skinny. And you've got to be all right with that as long as you're healthy. Listen, we even do it to ourselves with our own opinions. I remember I picked up from a boss at work, and I used to, when I get something wrong at work, I'd be like, man, you are such an idiot. And everybody would look at me and laugh like, this chick is crazy. And I would really call myself, you stupid. I'm going to lunch, y'all. I'm so stupid today, I can't take myself. And I used to repeat these things over and over and over again until I really started feeling like I couldn't stretch myself to finish a book. I couldn't stretch myself to read a whole magazine. I wouldn't even bother going into a bookstore. I was really telling myself that I'm good at this one thing. Be a receptionist your whole life. I'm good at this one thing. Be a typist your whole life. I'm good at this one thing. Transcribe dictation. So all day I got ears on my head and I can't do anything else because I've convinced myself that I'm good at this one thing and I'm going to do this one thing until I die. That was my own opinion. I was talking myself out of, girl, you doing better. Girl, you made a mistake. That means you get to figure out the mistake. And now you're going to know the insides to this outside issue that other people in this company don't know. And that's literally what started happening to me. I started learning programming by trying to figure out the mistakes in the computer by going inside the DOS system. It was so dope what God did with me. And I give him all the glory for it. So we do it all to ourselves. Again, betraying ourselves, abandoning ourselves. In examining your self-concept, then, you need to be really clear about what's fact and what's not fact. Here we go. I want you to write this one down. Opinions are only opinions, and opinions can be changed. Do you hear me? Opinions are only opinions, and opinions can be changed. Trust me, I've changed a lot of minds. People who talked about me when they ran into me, they didn't know that I heard what they had said, and they run into me and they were so uncomfortable and jittery and just so thrown off, and I'm just as confident as I want to be. Now, years ago, I would have probably did everything I can to embarrassingly avoid them and let them see that I was avoiding them because I just couldn't confront them. I was just too hurt by what they said. But I heard the old folks say, let people say what they want to say, just don't let it be the truth. When I got a self-esteem, a self-image, a great self-concept, a healthy self-esteem, a functioning self-image, man, you could walk in front of haters. Like he said, you could pray for your haters. You can pray for those that despitefully use you or abuse you or attack you. But that comes from the inside, man. It doesn't come from MAC makeup. It doesn't come from red hair color. It doesn't come from glasses that's going to make you look smart. It doesn't come from those things. We've got to get it at the gut level. And that's what my job is with you. Opinions are only opinions, and opinions can be changed. Y'all better go ahead. What I want to help you do is stop dealing with opinions about yourself and instead get in touch with the facts about yourself. Y'all doing all right on Periscope? What I want to help you do is stop dealing with opinions about yourself and instead get in touch with the facts about yourself. Let me read something. I'm making such a big deal out of this because I know that in any life, too much distortion, which means baseless opinion, too much distortion baseless opinion creeps into self-perceptions and thinking. Oftentimes, it happens without your even knowing it. It's as if your authentic self were an image projected on a wall. In the beginning, the image was crisp and focused. The colors were brilliant. Its edges were razor sharp. There could be no doubt about who you are. And if someone was to ask you, you would simply be able to say, that's who I am, with confidence. Then the world starts bumping at your projector, per se, and begins to upset things. This commotion goes on for years. Along the way, you stop testing everything for accuracy, and certain things start getting to you. Now, when you look up at the wall again, you see a hodgepodge of fuzzy lines and motley colors. Your authentic self has fallen completely out of focus. Facts blurred by the opinions of you and of others who may not even have your best interest at heart. Am I talking to you tonight? This all means that you must now be willing to begin testing virtually every thought, every feeling or reaction you have about you. I don't know why it's going up and down. Weird. I'm challenging you to start being skeptical of familiar patterns, familiar information. Find out instead exactly what has been your distorters. Write that word down. What has been your distorters? The things that has jostled your projection of yourself. Together, let's understand what has distorted you so that we can challenge those distortions in your life. Come on, I'm finishing up here on page 40, I believe. Search for new information about you, because I'm telling you that there are aspects of you, your authentic you, that are about to emerge from within that mess of world experiences and self-choices. Come on, S. Danae, I'm with you. It would be tragic for you to fail to recognize your very own self because you had your head up in some unveiling experiences. Fact number 1, every one of us, you included, has within us everything we will ever need to be, to do, and have anything and everything we will ever want or need. Now that just sounds crazy. That sounds like some self-help stuff that I'm going to either segue and ask for an offering, or I'm going to segue and ask you to buy my book in the bottle of pills that I want you to take for 30 days. That's what that sounds like. But it's not. This is a fact. Every one of us, you included, has within you everything you will ever need to be, do, and have anything and everything you will ever want and need. But you got to get through those distorters. That's right, Rochelle. Let me read and we're going to be done for tonight. God is wise in so many things that we don't see. I strongly believe that he starts out each person with everything they'll ever need to successfully fulfill their role. We have the tools, we have the ingredients, we have all the things that we need to get out in the world and live in our authentic selves. And for each of us, that set of gifts is uniquely different. He gave you different gifts than he gave me. He gave me different gifts than he gave the person next door. Nevertheless, somebody just texted my screen and they know I'm on. Nevertheless, each of us, with all of our differences, has within us all of our resources that we need. Those resources are found within our authentic self. If you feel inept or ill-equipped to deal with your life, and this is a hard fact to accept, I promise that under all the garbage you may have accumulated on your journey through this world lies the gift and skills that I know are there. If you feel disconnected from your pursuits, whether personal, professional, emotional, physical, or spiritual, It may well be not that there is something wrong or inadequate about you, but you are chasing the wrong things. And I found that out. Because some of us, let's just give an example for those on here that are Christians. Some of us are called for the church, but we're called in God. Some of us are still called in God, but we're called to the world. And I thought everything that I had to do had to be in the church until I found out he was calling me to help people with emotional issues, with personal development, which opened up a whole life and authenticity that I myself had to find out about my soul so that I could be flat-footed and do my work and introduce other people to this. And I've had, like I shared before, mentors that came against me, other leaders that kind of this new age stuff. And, I've heard a couple people mention it on their broadcast. It's amazing how we can attack something that God didn't give you. How can you tell what he gave somebody else if he only gave it to them? Now, I'm not saying I'm the only one that have it, but I know he didn't give it to you because you're not talking the same language that I'm talking because he gave it to me. So when I have people that come to me and they want to talk about what God has called them to do, I listen. And I listen carefully. And I try to help them dot the I's and cross the T's. Because my job isn't to X out what God has given them, because he gave it to you. Just like the vision for the church. He gave me the vision for the church. He didn't give it to my husband, and I wish he did. He didn't give it to my leaders. It's my job to break it down to them, to get them to understand what revelation God has given me about the ministry so that they can take their pieces of it and work it in the individual places and people that they're responsible for. It's not my job, but these people came against me, attacked me. Broadcast on me. And I knew it because they were quoting lines that I've said that nobody else was talking about. So how do you, with a low self-esteem and a low self-concept, still do what you believe God has told you and taught you about when people you look up to, people you need, have come against you and hurt you? How do you do that? How? How does that happen? Because your soul has got to be right. If you're in the church, your soul's got to be sanctified. Your soul has got to be anchored. Because people will talk you out of the very thing that God has called you to do. And when he's called you to do one or two things, I'm telling you right now, when he calls you to do that one or two things and you miss it, I don't know if you're going to have another chance to come around. Well, he might. God isn't like that. Oh, wait a minute. What did he do with Elijah? And then not only did he tell him that he was replacing him, he made him take his mantle and give it to Elijah. So because I don't do it, because of everybody who's talking against me, people that I need to be on my team, I'm not getting the support that I need. The people around me aren't hearing God about what he's given me. And I'm looking for, come on, church folks, confirmation and validation. Come on, God doesn't need to give confirmation. You are his confirmed word. When he spoke it and you heard it, it's confirmed. But we keep going around with this dictatorship in our religion that God couldn't have given me anything. And if you're a real leader and if you're a real builder of people, your job isn't to tear it down, to take it and run with it. Your job isn't to sit them down. Your job is to, well, what can I do to help you? Well, I don't read well, or I don't speak well, or I don't have an image to go on. Can you help me in these areas? I sure will try. That's what we do. But if you are called to something great and we're learning that you already are, do your soul work now so that when you get out, you won't be a one-hit wonder, but you'll be able to endure to the end, make God's name great. Be an advancement to the kingdom of God and all of those who called you delegate on here with us. All of us who are supporting one another. Y'all better shout out the delegates in your books, in your plays, in your movies, in your sermons, in your successes. You better shout out the delegates because we've done this thing together. We are God's confirmed word. You better believe it. I am. Because when he gives me a word, I usually got to break it down and explain it to other people, and they still may not get it. Why? He gave it to me. But we're taught with this old control stuff. Oh, God's going to confirm his word. Really? When David did what he did and God sent Nathan, was there any confirmation? Or Nathan was the confirmation? David didn't know what was about to happen to him till Nathan showed up. You are the confirmed word. But let me go on so I can finish this little area. If you are struggling in any aspect of your life career, relationships, finances, family, or feelings and expectancies about self. It is entirely possible that the problem is not with you, but with your personal man-task interface. I'll tell you what that means. You may in fact be pursuing people, goals, objectives, or experiences of self that are not incongruent with your authentic core. You know, thinking that I had to get online and teach about prophets. And I had to get online and teach about apostles. And, you know, I would go online and try to teach something. I would get off the line and say, oh my God, I can't stand this. I'm doing it because they're telling me that I have to do this. And you're not an apostle if you don't do this. And you're not prophetic if you don't do this. And you're not apostolic if you don't do this. So I'm sitting there saying, but I don't get any joy out of this. Remember 2 nights ago, we were talking, when you continually do something that you hate, you are betraying yourself. I was betraying myself, but would never believe it because it was a great thing. It was a God thing, but it wasn't what he told me to do. He told me to get up here and talk about toxic relationships and living in somebody's shadow of their toxicity. And now I'm just like someone who's smoking up somebody's secondhand smoke. I don't smoke, but I'm siphoning your toxins because I'm in relationship with an undelivered man or an undelivered woman. So me walking with you in no agreement, we're still walking together. So how do two walk together unless they agree? Real awkwardly, let me tell you. I see it all the time. So I got to convince you and work with you and do an archaeological dig with you to tell you you're a bad mama jama. All by yourself because of God of the universe has created you with purpose, with plan, with vision, with anointing, with gifts, with an economy, with strategy, with insight, with prophecy. And if you don't know him, I'll give it to you in the other terms. So if you're struggling, it may not be entirely impossible. It just may be that you're after the wrong things. I posted the other night. Once you find your lane, you really appreciate the lanes of others even more. Because now that I know I don't have to teach prophecy. I don't have to teach apostles. I don't have to teach apostolically. I'm still an apostle. I'm an apostle of souls. And if I wasn't an apostle, I'm doing the work that God has called me to do. And I think when I get to heaven, when he says, well done, my good and faithful servant, he's not going to say hyphen apostle or hyphen bishop apostle. He's going to call me servant. You know what I'm going to say? Servant I am, Lord. I'm not going to say I'm Suzanne M. Howard. I'm an apostle of the Lord Jesus Christ. No, just say well done because that's what my faith dictates. And that's good enough for me. Where you at, Elder Manny? I need you to tune up right now. So as I said earlier, don't get caught up by rigid thinking. You must be willing to challenge virtually every single aspect of your life, including the reality that you may be wanting and pursuing things that simply aren't right for you. I'm going to stop here. Next week, tomorrow, we'll pick up on fact 2 on page 42. We're getting through the facts and we will quickly hit the authenticity scale. So we'll be there tomorrow. So I'll send it to you ahead of time so y'all have 2 days to do the assessment that I need you to do. But this comment that I just read, let me read it, this line again. You must be willing to challenge virtually every single aspect of your life, including the reality that you may be wanting and pursuing things that simply aren't right for you. Remember whose book we're reading. Who the author of this book is, Dr. Phil. And he gives testimonies that I've totally cut out of our lessons. You get it when you read the book. Yes, Elder Manny. And he began to talk about how his father was a doctor. He paid for him to be educated as a doctor. He got a beautiful wife, had wonderful children, was living in Los Angeles. Well, I think he was living in Texas or Virginia at the time. But very wealthy, very happy life. Didn't have any money problems. Nobody was sick. Everybody's, prospering, even as their soul was prospering, except for him. He didn't look for purpose because he was broke. He looked for purpose because he was in poverty in his soul. He didn't have the peace. He didn't have the passion. He didn't have the purpose. He didn't have the zeal. So everyone was telling him he was crazy for giving all of that richness up. And he said, and look what I have now. When I found my authentic self and had the nerve to stand up to my father and everyone else and tell them, I'm not going to be a medical doctor. I'm not going to be a surgeon. But I'm going to do the work to find out who it is that I'm supposed to be. Can you imagine? I don't have to give up $300,000 to $500,000 a year to pursue purpose. If I had to walk in the shoes, it might have been a little hard. I might have just died unauthentic. But I thank God that I still have an opportunity to dig even more in the layers. Believe me, y'all, I'm getting another level out of this by going through with y'all. Finding out there's areas of my life, not so much where I'm fake, not so much where you're superficial, but where you're not letting yourself come forward because you're still trying to please people. He talked about a part in the book where we've got to understand the world does not revolve around us, and it will not stop moving on its axle because you got off or because you said no. This is about personal development. You get one life. You have one life. You don't have a dress rehearsal, and you don't have another opportunity. So to God be the glory. That's why we're on here tonight. So shake your hand, ma'am. Shake your hand, sir. I love you all very much. You are really more than delegates. It's just a name that we call ourselves. You are really people pursuing purpose, and that's the type of people that I want to be around. I bless you all. We're going to pick up on page 42. I thank God. Brother Will said he got his book tonight, so we can go ahead and go forth together in this. I'm going to be giving away a book every night. If you didn't put your name in for the winning, or if you want to put your name in again, put it in again. I'll put another name in it, and I'll be grabbing you tomorrow. If you win and you don't need a book, you can win a journal. I have some beautiful journals here that are also for giveaways. I think we've covered everything we need. Everyone's good. I don't see any questions up here. I'm being equipped and empowered in pursuit of my purpose. Absolutely. Whew, my life is not a dress rehearsal. Nope. And I think of that when I have to say no to someone now. You know, because regarding my granddaughter, no is not in the vocabulary. And I don't mean as far as her being spoiled. I'm talking about as far as how much needs or, demands or expectations that I have to, or I choose to go through because her life is that important to me. There's still some prioritizing in life that we've got to turn the list upside down. We can't have you third on your priority list. We cannot have you 6th and 8th on your priority list. We can't have you absent from your priority list. I need you on top. I teach my intercessors this. I think I said this on opening night. When you're on an airplane and they're teaching you in case of injury or accident and the overhead compartments open and the oxygen mask come down, please don't put it on your child, which is the hard thing to do. Please don't help the elderly person, which is the hard thing to do. Please put it on yourself first, because we need you to be able to help other people. And if you save one life, you could have saved 3 if you would have put it on yourself first. You'd have been able to help others. That's what we're doing. We're not being selfish or self-centered. We're putting the oxygen in us first so that we can go and help others. Well, I love you. God bless you. I will see you on tomorrow night. You sure don't. There is no perfection. Exhale that one. Thank you very much and good night. Remember, email me if you want to talk about anything, you want to share personal testimonies, or you want me to share your name. Let's go. info@SuzanneMHoward.com. The website is SuzanneMHoward.com. Mark your calendars. I'm looking at March 2nd for the next date for a Soul Detox in person. It's pretty much going to be confirmed that it will be at Goodwin College again in their auditorium. I'd love to see you there. Fly up, fly in. Why not? We got it going on in here, Connecticut. We'll have dinner with you. We'll show you the hotel that's close to the church. Pick you up for church. You have church with us the next morning. Put you on that flight on Sunday night. Come on up here and be rehabilitated and get the prescription for your soul. Come in person and be with us. We'd love to have you. And imagine after this 30 days how powerful it's going to be on March 2nd. So you can go to Eventbrite and reserve your ticket now, or you can wait till it's publicly posted once I have all of it confirmed. Well, God bless you. We've got to go. Good night. Check your emails. Make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to send out the assessment so you have 2 days to get it done and we can begin to discuss it together. All right, let's go. What's our proclamation, affirmation? I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. Good night. See you tomorrow night about 9 p.m.